Okay, so let me Yeah, please add your name to the recording, to the minutes. So the reason kind of the rather is here, particular maybe it's added well, and then want to discuss the approach for the MPAI or Jakarta AI or kind of where to contribute, right?
Okay.
Maybe it's to get started. How about discuss the current status, and then we will see the future direction, etc. So, Bohik, do you want to take us through and the current status?
Yeah, we got, well, there's one
Do
pull
you want to
request.
share your screen and then maybe talk it through, and then we will see basically there's some suggestions regarding where to go from here, and I think because you have done good work with all the prototype and etc. And then where do we put the code base? Should we make the code base in the MPAI or the like under MP, or directly contribute to the upstream like launching 4G? Okay,
Wait, how do I share screen on this thing?
yeah.
Share. Well, I don't know if you guys can see the screen.
Can't see anything else except that you are sharing. You have started the screen share. Maybe it's a different monitor.
Oh, sorry. I need to figure out. No, I share the window.
Oh yeah, we can see it now.
Now we can see it.
So, okay. So besides that, the only thing that's left for us was we've enabled the functionality to inject other, so to create AI services, for example, you can either inject like a streaming chat model or a chat model or others, or if you want RAG, a context retriever or a chat model provider or all of those stuff. So we've made it able to do whatever you want to as a configuration to inject other. If you want to do simple RAG or advanced RAG, you can either create a producer field or method and then be able to inject it or not, or you can configure it on your as a microprofile config, and then it will automatically create your model at the scope, and then so that you can be able to inject it. So that's the pull request for that. And then the next discussion was to create a version 1 that people can play with. But then we also noticed that LangChain has basically created a one piece. So that means they've abstracted certain things and put it into new classes, like all the parameters. They've created like a chat parameters class. So if we bump to the newer version of LangChain for Gen, certain things will break. That's because we've already have like telemetry support and fault tolerance support that works on the previous version of the chat model classes. So if we decide to update to the version 1 offer, then it might break the it might break the existing code changes that we've made. So for example, these things, for example, we've included, like, if you wanted to create like a chat memory services, you either can do it either a configuration and then you specify the chat memory name from here, where we've put the name over there, and then it will automatically inject with from the service creator. Where's the service creator? So all of these things are examples that you can run. So here on where is this? The common AI service creator will automatically detect all of these other things that has been configured. And if it's available for injection, then it will inject it for you. But then you have to specify other by saying, do you want to detect a default one? So that means you have a provider method, a producer method or field that it can try and inject from, or by specifying the CDI name for it. But that's it. And then that allows developers to either create a simple RAG chat memory, or they can go complex, but then it will inject it for you if you specify either a CDI name or you've configured it using MicroProfile config. But yeah, that's the last we've been to. It still needs to be reviewed and merged if it has to. But then the next question was, when are we going to have like version 1 release? Or are we going to wait for LangChain to
Right.
release, to stabilize the version 1, and then we look into that?
Okay, thank you, Bahik.
Oh,
Do you mind if I share?
yeah, and also one last thing.
Yeah.
Because LangChain has fault tolerance built into the core implementation, and there's one suggestion that I've already specified for them to break it away, because by default, they have a retry or 3 retries to access the service providers, like let's say Azure. And then if it fails, then it throws an exception. But then if you use our like fault tolerance for MicroProfile fault tolerance, and then you say you want to retry twice, then it will try and retry 5 times in total. So that's the suggestion was for them to completely break away from it so that we can use MicroProfile fault tolerance instead of relying on theirs internally.
Yeah, that sounds good. So this is why it's kind of worthwhile to work with the upstream. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Okay. Let me share. So I just want to basically back off a little bit. So give a kind of a quick overview about what he said is basically upcoming, and then what we have done basically already. So pretty much like we demonstrate basically with Quarkus, Liberty, Helidon, Glassfish integration with very minimal more kind of the changes, and other changes is in the basically the core. So basically this is what Bohik already demonstrates basically the SPI, just the one SPI registered AI service. And then the kind of the integration is pretty much with MP config and also with CDI. So it's kind of this is pretty much kind of the bootstrap area. So it's kind of this is basically the creator. So it's very minimal like API changes. And for the basically the core and etc. And also this is kind of the CDI portable extensions. You can see the and connecting with this is pretty much like integration with the CDI and also can directly talk into the different LLM and etc. So this is the extension, the portable extensions. So this is another module. And then this is the integration with the telemetry. So basically is with the hotel. So getting some metrics. And then is the kind of, this is the other one is this is a MP config integration. So and then the kind of what's upcoming is the Bahik already said is the MicroProfile for tolerance. And then all the examples is directly from here. Like basically the people can play with it. So it's what is working so far. You can connect with the different LLMs, and then you can easily configure that. So it's let me see in here sources. So you can specify basically. So here you can connect with Azure OpenAI API key. So basically you specify which model. So this use Azure Open AI chat model, and then you specify your API key and etc. So it's very flexible and configurable as well. And then it's kind of the so this is all the foundation, and basically recap what Bahik said is the kind of RAG support. So it's hopefully the PR reviewed and merged soon. And then it's pretty much can update a baseline with OpenAI with the launching 4G. Now the question on the table is for these APIs. So basically for these APIs, all of these the models and etc. Should we make this end up in MicroProfile kind of the repo, or should we contribute to launching 4G? So it's basically also kind of if we contribute to launching 4G, there's some advantages there, and then also we can influence like fault tolerance integration. Maybe they can just do their own model, and then we can plug in for fault tolerance and auto basically make that configurable. So rather than we are downstream. So this is the kind of the basically I try to bring up on the same level. I don't know whether kind of Bahik, you want to put add anything or correct anything I have said.
No, you're spot on.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Thank you, Bahik. Now the basically the question on the table, what people think, the kind of the should we bring this into MicroProfile or into launching 4G? Okay, Reza, let me do the minutes as you are talking.
Okay, so yeah, I believe so just to back up a little bit. The reason we are here is that we have been discussing this internally at Microsoft for some time and considering what direction to take with regards to aligning sort of the Jakarta MicroProfile ecosystem with LLM. And the direction that we, at least at Microsoft, have always had and now we've solidified is that we would like to see basically an analog of, Azure OpenAI, sorry, rather, LangChain 4J already has some Spring extensions baked in addition to the Java SE APIs. So what we would like to ultimately see and believe would be the most beneficial for the entire ecosystem is actually to have an exact parallel of whatever is a Spring functionality built into LangChain 4J, also mirrored in equivalent offerings for basically Jakarta MicroProfile ecosystem as a set of CDI extensions. So we are in a position now where it's not just we can state this is what we want to do, but we can actually make that happen. So we can actually fund some resourcing for a period of time, let's say plus or minus a year or so, to help make that a reality. So we are also working with our partner ecosystem, business partner ecosystem, namely Red Hat, IBM, and Oracle, to see whether they also can make equivalent commitments in that direction. So again, creating a CDI, a robust CDI extension that basically can compete head to head with the string offerings built into LangChain4j today. So we've been, Emily let us know there's this work going on here. Very much would like to find out, what the convergence is, and maybe we can all sort of join forces and make a commitment to make that work happen. So at this point, we are looking for that, right? So we are ready to commit our own resources in order to make that happen. And at this point, we are looking to see, who else can also similarly make some commitments to make that reality. So it's good to see, the work here. I think it's a good start. Ideally, what would be really good to see is that we move this work into LangChain4j proper, and we will invest our own engineering resources to help make that happen. And we would also like to see, equivalent, at least support in that directionality, and hopefully also engineering commitment from our business partners here as well.
Yeah, so basically, in summary, you would like basically the group directly contribute to LangChain4j, and also you could help to basically vendors such as Red Hat, Oracle, IBM, directly basically, all of course, together with the individuals, everyone here, to directly to contribute what we have to LangChain4j. Is that a summary?
Correct. And also, just to be clear, we are putting our corporate weight behind it, right? So in going in this direction, it's not just, some individuals. This will be essentially Microsoft engineers, doing work to align this work in at least a semi-official way from a Microsoft perspective, right? So we would similarly like to see a similar directional alignment with the rest of the vendors as well. In fact, this is the reason why we're taking this step by step, right? So we want everyone to sort of have this as a more formalized position and commitment rather than sort of something informal. Now, of course, again, there's always going to be a place for individuals and people in the community to do that. But just to be clear, from our side, we're looking at this as something serious and something we are committed to as an organization.
Yeah, great, John.
Yeah, hey Reza. So you were saying that you would like to see the contributions around extensions done in the LangChain4j community.
Yes.
So what's the role of MicroProfile in this scenario?
I think we can use sort of these MicroProfile meetings as a meeting point, perhaps, because I think the LangChain4j community is rather informal. I don't think they have much in terms of infrastructure whatsoever. So I think this is been an interesting sort of puzzle to figure out. But I think since these meetings at least have been taking shape for some time, and we will need, if we decide to collaborate as a sort of a vendor alliance, we will need some place to converge and maybe do some brainstorming or at least synchronize amongst ourselves. And I don't think LangChain4j has that type of infrastructure. So I think it would be useful to either use this sort of meetings and maybe a bit of the infrastructure here as a collaboration point, but ultimately make the work in LangChain4j itself. I think, as I mentioned, in our view, I think that's going to be the most credible thing to do.
So is there a need for something that along the lines of MicroProfile telemetry, where we adopt an external framework, which is in the context of, if you want to call CN4J a standards org or whatever, right? In the context of a multi-vendor formal project, OpenTelemetry, where we have a spec that basically covers how to integrate OpenTelemetry into the rest of the MicroProfile APIs, right? So we have kind of this integration spec. I don't want to call it a bridge spec. It's not really a bridge, but an integration spec. Would this approach also require something like that? Or do you think that that actual work could be done in LangChain4j and MicroProfile wouldn't really have a role?
Our position, as we've stated before, John, is that this entire AI space is a bit too volatile. So it's far more volatile. As you know, even the CNCF standards, like OpenTelemetry being one of them, is volatile, but it's nothing compared to the volatility that's there in terms of currently in the AI LLM space. In fact, this whole thing may pivot into agentic AI tomorrow, right? And away from LLM. So, as you know, I mean, even now, like yesterday, just last week, suddenly the whole ecosystem was upended by just one announcement, right, from one company in Asia Pacific. So it's a very, very volatile space. I don't think this is the right time to try to standardize or to pseudo standardize anything. I think that's only going to backfire. So what we are looking to do is do whatever is necessary with regards to alignment, the same way that the Spring ecosystem is doing, or rather the LangChain4j project itself has decided to do, is just do the integration work in the LangChain4j project itself. So I think any kind of integration, or how does it work with Jakarta, how does it work with MicroProfile? I think all of that can be sorted out in the LangChain4j project itself, and then use that essentially as the experiment space. So once that, if in the future AI gets more solidified and there's more stable concept of what it even is, I think that's the time to look at any kind of standardization. I think right now trying to standardize anything is premature, and I don't even think it's necessary.
Yeah. By the way, Red Hat has a very similar concern, right? That it's too early to standardize things around AI because it is so volatile. So, I mean, my questions are really just to figure out, being this is a MicroProfile call, what the role of MicroProfile would be, and I appreciate you kind of explaining Microsoft's perspective on that as well.
I think there is a role, right? I mean, we do need a convergence point. Certainly, we'll be doing this work as not just a random vendor alliance, hopefully, right? But also a vendor alliance that has some foundation in Jakarta and/or MicroProfile. So I think in that sense, at least the sense of meetings, like we could be continuing to use these meetings and maybe rename it slightly. We could be using perhaps some of the MicroProfile GitHub repositories as a staging space. So I do think we ultimately, if we do this as I hope as a collective, from the Jakarta MicroProfile perspective, I think there is a role to be had in MicroProfile as a project that does not necessarily entail creating specs in the end. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks, Reza.
Yeah. Okay, Ed.
One other quick thing. By continuing to use this forum and the staging repos that Reza stated, we leave ourselves open to, when things settle down a bit, then doing the MicroProfile specification, the normal thing that we do, because I do anticipate that will eventually happen. But it's too early now. So I don't want to give up the brand. I don't want to give up the association with MicroProfile on this, the stamp of approval kind of. And also, as Reza pointed out very early on, if someone is new to LangChain4j, they can't help but notice, wow, Spring is already in here. It's right there. I can see it. There's a directory. By not having something for our side, that's a disadvantage that we need to fix.
It's not just a directory, it's actually baked into every single bit of LangChain4j documentation. So
Yeah.
it looks frankly rather embarrassing.
Yeah, we need to correct that.
Yeah. So aside from that, I mean, from a microphone standpoint, if things, it may actually make more sense to have an agentic AI specification more so than LLM. But even that space is so nascent and so volatile. Right now is not the time. But I think, having something called MicroProfile AI, just as a space for us to have dialogue as a community and a set of vendors with a particular interest set, I think that could be very useful indeed, right? But I don't think there's anything to the ultimately just doing the work in Langchain4j itself.
Yeah, this is a great suggestion actually. It's not like all the kind of groups is trying to publish specs. So this could be a discussion group. Yeah, so that attracts some basically attention. Maybe the deliverables is in Langchain4j. However, this is the kind of community we get together to discuss any AI related topics. Oh, okay, John. Sorry, I jumped.
No, that's good. Yeah, Reza, could you just double check the notes that we're taking, because we got your name on some comments, and I want to make sure that they're accurate and not misconstruing what your thoughts are. So, yeah, I just want to take notes.
Okay.
That are accurate. Yeah.
Okay. So what I'll do is, I think in doing that in real time is going to be a little rough. So I will check certainly with. We definitely don't want Microsoft position to be misunderstood. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Check with Emily and find out where those meetings are, and then I'll, if need be, I'll let her know and re-edit these meetings later on. But just to summarize, what we're looking to do is we're looking to invest our resources into creating a Jakarta MicroProfile parallel of what exists for Spring in Langchain4j today. We're looking to do this work in a collaborative fashion with the other vendors in a more formalized way, with at least loose, or at least what I would call a gentleman's agreement commitment between the vendors to do this work. And yeah, we do think it's premature to try to standardize anything in MicroProfile, but we could use this MicroProfile AI space as a meeting spot, as a convergence point to help drive that work together as a set of vendors.
And we should.
Sounds good.
We should call it
Langchain4j
MicroProfile, just like they've got Spring.
Yeah, so this is spot on, Ed. So here, like I already started looking at the Langchain4j modules, the repos. So here is the Langchain4j Spring, and then we could do a Langchain4j MicroProfile Jakarta. So make both Jakarta and MicroProfile folks happy. Anyway. This is the end of the call, so we can continue the discussion next week. And also, John, maybe we can bring this up in the MicroProfile community discussion as well, right? So,
yeah, we have a live hangout meeting tomorrow. We can just bring it up.
Yeah.
And Emmanuel has his hand up as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, hello. Just a small point, because it's informal. There has been discussion with the Langchain4j team about making a Langchain4j CDI module, not MicroProfile, but
I think the module is the right positioning. In fact, even for a name, I would suggest Langchain4j CDI. Yeah, to avoid too much potential conflict.
Yeah, but that was informal, and the idea was that they were supposed to release Langchain4j 1.0, and then they would take time. That was I think it was with Clément or maybe with Max, the discussion, and then they would take time to provide this and take what we have done in SmallEye LLM.
I think we will continue the discussion. I'm not sure to call it a CDI. I think,
I'm gonna say that doesn't get across the. You have to know what CDI is.
Yeah, absolutely.
We want to appeal to the ignorant.
Yeah, so I think I will say MicroProfile and Jakarta so people know. And then beside all the integration, not only CDI, also with the MicroProfile config and others. But anyway, we can continue the discussion next week. And at least we get a message out and to basically let people to comment, and then we will kind of settle on the direction and then settle on the names. So names is always difficult. I got to jump to another call. Thank you all. I think that's a great discussion here.
All right. Thanks.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.